right, let's get started in mountain. With my coffee. Yeah. So ground down through your feet, arms bright. I was saying last week, this is really telling, this pose right here, of maybe what you carry without you throughout the day. So just kind of notice if you're squeezing tightly anywhere. You know, I know for me, I tend to just tighten up my glutes, my butt, and actually it has a big impact on my lower spine. Similarly, if you like engage too tightly within your core, you can start to see issues throughout your body. And so it's really important just to kind of notice if just by coming into a simple mountain pose, are you tensing up? Are you finding any tightness? Because that's going to be telling about maybe where you carry tension throughout the day. So we'll keep tapping back into that throughout the practice. Let's begin with pranayama breathing. So interlacing your fingers under your chin and just level out your shoulders. Try to bring your elbows as close together as you can. And on an inhale, begin to spread your elbows wide. Exhale, lift the chin, breathe out through your mouth, and slowly bring your palms, your forearms, elbows together. Inhale brings you back to center. Exhale, lifting the chin. Make that breath count, so breathe it out. Inhale. Doing your best to relax the shoulders. Exhale. As well as relaxing through the lower body. Inhale, center. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lift. 3, 2, 1. And your next breath in, just continue with that pacing, continuing to lengthen. Exhale, looking to extend the exhale, matching breath with movement. Pause at the top. In breath, center, breathing in all of the positivity. Out breath, lifting, breathing out all of the negativity. In breath, just notice, are you squeezing anywhere in your lower body? Exhale. See if you can relax and ground down through your feet. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Working your way back to mountain. So we bring our hands to heart center, bringing ourselves back to our intention of setting our intention here. This week, we've gotten some help from a girl down the street, and there is so much gratitude to just have some help during the day. The kids have undivided attention. I'm able to focus. So there is just a lot of gratitude going on over here. So find your intention. What's the first thing that you're feeling that comes to mind, and let's carry that throughout the practice. We'll seal our intention with the breath in and breath out. Enjoy. Starting with our half moon series, arms overhead, interlacing the fingers, pressing those palms together. Take an in breath. And then an exhale to the right, just warming up here. Inhale, center. And exhale to the left. Warming up the spine. Inhale, center. And exhale to the left. And just find your setup. So be a little playful as you try to Find the 10 toes pressing into the mat. Sometimes I like to lift the toes and then slowly lower and spread them. And it gives you a good feel for rounding down those toes, finding a little engagement through the calves, lifting those kneecaps, engaging the thighs, finding your level hips. Take one more inhale, and then reach on the exhale. Inhale, center, and then exhale to the left. And then just kind of notice, is this side different than the other? Starting with your feet and working your way up through the fingertips. Taking notice of each part of your body. Maybe try engaging and then relaxing just to feel. Working a little bit more of a lift, then lengthen to the left. Taking one more big breath in and a breath out. And inhale brings you back to center. And then exhale, start to engage the thighs, engage the belly as you lift your chest, lift your gaze for a triple extension. So pressing your hips forward, finding that engagement through the belly, through the glutes to help give you a little bit more lift. Heart is lifted, holding for a breath in and a breath out. Inhale brings you back to center. And exhale, transitioning right away through that flat back. You can give your arms a break if you'd like and bring them back to airplane or keep them overhead, your choice. Looking to pull your hips back, finding that long spine. Take an inhale, and then exhale, release, and pedal out those legs. Just ensuring that your head is super heavy. Use this time to really relax into the pose. Shifting those hips. Taking breath with movement here, so continue to breathe. And then find stillness at the center as we come into Padahastasana. So bending your knees deep as you wrap your arms around your calves, your ankles, or maybe lifting underneath of your heels. And working those forearms as close together as you can, tucking the chin slightly, gaze at the knees. And then finding your breath in this rounded position. Taking one more breath in, fill up, and a breath out. To release, coming to our flat back transition, so arms interlaced over the head or airplane. Take a breath in, stay here for the breath out. Feeling that long spine. Next, inhale, press through the feet and rise to center. Taking another breath in. On the exhale, half moon to the right. So you guys know the cues. So now it's time to tap into your own body, bringing awareness to where things may feel off. You're trying to bring maybe your left hip in line with the right. Maybe bringing your biceps a little bit closer to your ears. Palms a little closer together. One more breath in. And a breath out. Inhale, center. And exhale to the left. Don't know if you guys have any mirrors at home, but I have this nice reflection of the screen door here. And it makes it super helpful to tap into what you feel based on what you see. Take one more inhale. Exhale, reach. Inhale, center. And right away, transitioning to our triple extension on the exhale. So again, making sure all 10 toes are grounded, thighs are fired up, lifting, maybe reaching a little bit further back this time. Maybe lifting your gaze, dropping your head, remembering to keep your breath. Holding that breath builds anxiety. You know we don't need any more anxiety. Inhale brings you back to center. Exhale, flat back transition. In breath. Out breath, release. Hang heavy. Pedal out the legs. Making sure you keep your heels on the mat. I really like to shift my hips really far left and then really far right. Feeling into this. Bringing it back to center. Padahastasana. Arms wrap. Fingertips pointing down towards the mat or cupping your heels. And see if you can feel those collarbones, the shoulder blades just wrapping around your legs. Finding that engagement, maybe lifting your hips, straightening your knees a 1/4 inch. And every exhale, seeing if you can bring your arms a little closer, your hips a little higher. Taking one more breath in and a breath out. We'll release, coming to the top of your mat, hanging heavy. We'll set up for our lunge series. So inhale, coming to a flat back, arms on your shins or the tops of your thighs, elbows high. And on the exhale, stepping the right leg back into your lunge. So here's our runner's lunge. You can lightly press your fingertips into the mat. Just lift your gaze about a couple inches in front of your mat. Take a breath in. And exhale, step forward, hang heavy. Inhale, flat back, so really lengthen on your flat back. Exhale, left leg back. You can slowly transition that left leg back to lunge. It's a strength move. When your foot lands, just wiggle that left foot back to find your strong runner's lunge. Take one more inhale. Exhale, left leg to the top, hang heavy. Begin to separate your feet, hip width distance. Then deepen your knees as you bring your forearms on top of the knees, palms pressed. What's called our downhill skier. You just feel your toes spreading here. Just notice where you're putting your weight on the outside or the inside of the feet. Try to even that out. Belly is tucked. Lifting the chest. Inhale. Exhale, arms wide. Airplane. Inhale, press through the feet. Keeping your knees aligned with your toes as you press up to standing. Finding your exhale at the top. Working our squat series, arms out in front. Take an inhale. Exhale, sinking back in your hips to find your squat. So really pressing those hips back, fingertips squeeze together to find some engagement. Bringing the shoulder blades back just a little. Take an inhale and sink a little bit more on the exhale. Let's take another breath here. Inhale. Exhale, sink a little more. Inhale, rise to center. And then coming all the way up to your tiptoes. So finding your heels as high as you can. Working both big toes and pinky toes. Pressing into the mat. Maybe bring your heels up and out a little bit. Sometimes we tend to duck our ankles in. Just kind of be playful there. And bend into your squat if you'd like, with your heels high, or stay upright. And then from here, coming back up if you've gone into your squat, and lowering your heels slowly to the mat, working that transition. And then our awkward pose, to bringing your feet in about half the distance. Lightly touch the knees, engage the inner thighs as they squeeze together. Here we're working our shoulders over our hips. So take an inhale, exhale, sinking your hips. And when it starts to feel a little awkward, just lifting the heels, coming into your awkward pose. The belly's engaged. Press a little bit more through the thighs. One more inhale. Maybe sinking on the exhale. Inhale, rise to center, heels release, palms face each other. Inhale, up, arms overhead. And exhale, slowly brighten your fingertips as they slowly release into mountain. Bringing our feet together. Continuing with our squat series, our eagle pose. Bringing your arms overhead. Just feeling those fingertips press together, palms press. Then the exhale, right arm under left. So wrapping, can be very challenging. So take your time to set it up. Bring your palms as close to your nose as you can. Relaxing the left shoulder. Begin to sink into your knees. And bring the right leg over the left. Sometimes it's helpful to try to get it high over the left to give you some space to wrap. And notice if you went to wrap and that right hip starts to move forward, just slowly work it back. Continuing to bring your elbows down. And then again, on that breath, using the exhale to sink a little lower each time you breathe out. One more inhale. Sink on the exhale. Inhale, arms spring up overhead. Again, feeling those fingertips, palms press. Exhale, left arm under right. You guys know the pose, so move into it on your breath. No rushing here. You know I'll hold you in the pose to get all the feels. Make sure you're taking those long inhales, even longer exhales. Do that together. In breath, out breath, and release, unwrap, arms overhead. And just slowly, bright fingertips, releasing arms at the side, finding your mountain. We'll do our standing balancing forehead to knee. So lift the right knee to 90. And arms can be at your side or maybe placing them on your hips. So you're working level hips, which sometimes means you need to find a little more engagement through the left leg. Bring that left hip up in line with the right. Flexing the right toes. You can stay upright, finding the balance, or begin to round down. And take it slow. I think it's harder to actually slowly transition into this pose because right away, just leaning forward, you can start to feel that engagement in the left thigh. Making sure you keep that engagement. Take a breath in. Stay for the breath out. Working right back to that hurdlers, that strong hurdlers. And then releasing the right foot. Shifting our weight. Left knee to 90. You know, in between, I kind of move pretty quickly to make sure we can make it through the class in time, but feel free to kind of shimmy those hips during those transitions. I'll cue that next time. So staying here, engaging. Sometimes helpful if you don't have a mirror, so you put your hands on your hips like we did on the other side. Begin to round if that's in your practice. If you are going for your foot, making sure you're creating that basket, interlacing all 10 fingers. Taking a breath in and a breath out. Working your way back to hurdlers and back to mountain. So yeah, here, shimmy your hips here. It really feels nice. Maybe doing some hip circles before we move into our second set. Right knee to 90. When you're ready, we'll move into a second set. So second set should allow for a little strength building, meaning you can transition even further. If you stayed upright, maybe you want to start to round down and just see what happens. And if you caught your foot on the first set, maybe begin to practice kicking out. You're kicking out, knee, foot, heel in line with your hip. Holding for a breath in, breath out. Again, working the transition back to hurdlers and back to mountain. Shimmy if you'd like. And when you're ready, moving to our standing balancing on the other side. Second set, I'll give you some space. This is a really challenging balancing and strength pose. Holding here for a breath in and a breath out. Coming back the same way you came in and release. Take a breath in through the nose. Breath out through the mouth. Let's try that again. Breath in through the nose. Breath out through the mouth. We'll do our standing bow. Left arm up, right hand touches the right foot. So keeping your knee right under your hip. Maybe right knee is kissing the left. And so you can stay here and just start to feel that engagement by engaging the thigh. Or begin to find your kick out and away. Your standing bow. Just making sure you're matching your reach with your kick. So maybe lowering the left hand as you kick your right foot a little further away. Gaze maybe over those fingertips. Take one more breath in and out. And as slow as you can, finding your kick, working your way back up to center. Release the right foot. Windmill the left. If you want, you can windmill the right and the left. And bring your right arm up. Left hand, left foot. Standing bow on the other side. So finding that setup, sometimes just staying right here will gain all of the benefit of the pose. If you're kicking your foot into your hand, engaging that thigh, you can feel it right here. And stay or begin to kick, working that heel away from your body. Slowly lowering your right hand, finding that reach. Maybe seeing your foot come above your head. You can all visualize it, that's for sure. Take a breath in. Stay with me for the breath out. And inhale. Just hinging forward as you kick back to center. Release the left foot. Windmill the right. Maybe the left, maybe the right. Let's get a little movement here. So we set up for our second set. So coming back to mountain. Right arm up. Left hand. Wait, did we just do that side? Sorry, left arm up. Right hand, right foot. Well, let's use our breath on this one. So finding that setup. And then when you're ready, begin to kick. And then count 5 in breaths and out breaths. Maybe every out breath, seeing if you can hinge and kick a little more. When you've completed your 5 breaths, working your way back to center. And we'll do the same on the other side. So windmill the arms, touching your foot, left hand, left foot. You may begin. 5 breaths. Coming back to center. Windmill the arms. Maybe shimmying your hips. We'll go ahead and set up for our warrior 3. So coming to the back of your mat. Feet come together. Arms can stay at your side. Prayer hand with a full expression, arms overhead, interlacing your fingers, pointer fingers released. Take an in breath, get long. And on the out breath, step forward with the right foot. So plant the right foot and begin to press into the mat, leaning forward. And then slowly lifting the left foot, hinging. Doesn't have to be a big hinge. You don't have to be a perfect T. We're just looking for length, fingertips to toes, one long line. Take one more breath in. Staying for the breath out. Bringing the left toes back to the mat. Right foot steps back to meet the left. In breath long. Out breath, stepping forward with the left foot. Bend into the left knee. As you press your right foot up into your warrior three. Just seeing if you do have your arms overhead, making sure your biceps are pressing close to your ears, lowering the right hip, belly engaged, in breath. Stay with me for the out breath. Transitioning back, right foot plants, left foot meets it. Inhale long. Exhale, arms bright. By your side, mountain. Coming to the top. Let's do right corner of the mat or whatever direction works for you guys. I'm going to continue to face you. So arms at your side. In breath, arms overhead, palms pressed. Out breath, wide step, either to your left or right, wherever it lands you on your mat. T arms, feet are parallel. Take an in breath. Out breath, begin to hinge at your hips, engaging through the thighs. Arms can stay at T or slowly release them to the mat. Keeping your neck in line with your spine. Staying here, maybe grabbing a yogi toe lock for the outsides of your feet. You need to feel free to bend into those knees. I actually feel more of a stretch through my hamstrings when I do that. Sending your breath to wherever there's tension. Taking one more inhale. Sending that exhale to wherever there's tightness. In breath, palms on the tops of your thighs, long spine. And stay with me right here for the exhale. And your next in breath, hinging from your hips, working your way back to center. Out breath, T arms. A little bit of a different transition this time. So inhale, exhale, slight bend into the right knee. Exhale, pressing feet together, arms overhead, and then arms down by your side. We'll move into our warrior two. So in breath, arms overhead, palms pressed. Exhale, stepping to the right, large step, feet are parallel to begin, and then slowly pivot the right toes to the top of the mat. And a slight angle in the left foot, the left ankle, bending into your warrior two. So here, something I've been playing with where, a lot of times, especially me, I like to lean forward in my warrior two. And I have to remind myself to bring the shoulders over the hips. So just play with that, leaning forward and back to center, and maybe leaning back and see what that feels like. And then bringing yourself back to center. Inhale, palms split to the side. On the exhale, begin to reach forward as you hinge into your bent knee triangle. So bringing the outside of your hand to the inside of the right knee, using that to help work the right knee over the second and third toes. Inhale. Exhale. So keeping your lower body stable, in breath brings you back to warrior two. Stay for the exhale. Straighten the right knee. Pivot to parallel. And we'll do warrior two on the other side. So left toes towards the top of the mat, slight angle with the right heel. So it's, you can kind of think of this pose here. So strength pose in our warrior two. But when we lean forward, thinking about leaning into our future, coming center, being present right here, right now. And leaning back, finding our past. Coming back to center, present here. Flipping the palms, reaching and finding our bent knee triangle. Finding that engagement through the belly. So you don't want to collapse to the left side, but lengthen here. Using the left arm as a lever to help get a little bit more lift. Take a breath in. And a breath out, maybe bending that knee a little more. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, pausing. Straighten the left knee. Feet come parallel. Take an in breath. On the out breath, bending the right knee. Inhale, feet come together, arms overhead. Exhale, arms slowly reach wide by your side. Mountain. Let's just close our eyes here. So I'm going to pause at maybe where I don't normally pause. Closing your eyes, bringing yourself back right here, right now. Taking yourself back to your intention. As we move on for our last standing asana. Inhale, arms overhead, prayer hands, thumbs crossed. Exhale, step to the right. Medium step here as we begin to pivot towards the top of the mat. Level off the hips. Take a breath in. And on the breath out, tucking the chin, rounding down. Going as slow as you can on this transition or this descent down to feel every vertebrae round. Feel your hamstrings maybe a little tight. Feeling that nice stretch. You tuck the chin as you gaze at your knee, working your forehead as close to the knee as you can. And then find your arm position, so keeping your hands at prayer, bringing them to the side of your foot, or sometimes I like to bring them behind the right foot, just to help to relax the shoulders. Let's take one more breath in, so fill up as best you can. And then finding that breath out, sending it to where you need it most. Bring your hands to prayer, biceps by your ears. Press through the right foot as you round all the way back to center, lifting your chin last. Exhale. We'll pivot our feet parallel. And pivot towards the back of the mat, or maybe it's the front of your mat, depending on how you're turned. Long spine, breath in. Tuck the chin. Exhale on the descent down. Keeping the right leg nice and straight as the left knee can bend. Belly to spine. Forehead to knee. I know it's hard to see, but just play around with kind of shifting your hips too. Sometimes you have to work that right hip a little higher. helps by engaging the right thigh a little more. Together, we'll take a breath and really fill up belly to spine. And then exhale, letting it go. Arms back to prayer hands. Next inhale, rounding up, pressing through the left foot. Strength move to do it slowly. Releasing the chin. Feet come parallel. Taking a breath in. On the breath out, feet come together, arms by your side. Mount. We've made it through half the class. If you guys want to come to your Savasana, just a mini Savasana here. Let's see, I'm going to turn this way. It's a great time to tap back into your intention. Feel all the feels. Love it. Slowly find your mountain on your back, so bring your feet together. And when you're ready, bringing the right knee into your chest. Slight engagement through the left leg. Again, kind of going with that theme of finding a little extra movement. You can circle out your ankle, and maybe circling out your knee by finding a little mobility in that hip. Just be playful. Relaxing the shoulders to the mat. Take a breath in. Breath out. As we release, moving into our half pigeon or our figure four. Right ankle over the left thigh. Choosing your hand position. Flexing your feet. Here I tend to visualize me breathing in all the positivity. It's really easy to do outside when the birds are singing. And then on the exhale, just releasing anything that you're holding on to, either the muscles in your body or the negative thought patterns. I'm going to do that a couple of times. Take one more breath in. And a breath out, letting it go. As we release, coming into our spinal twist. So extending the left leg on the mat. Shimmy that left hip under the right. So shimmy as much as you need to, and then slowly working that right knee over the left, finding your spinal twist. So your heart is bright. Maybe your right shoulder isn't touching the mat, but our idea is to work that right shoulder towards the mat. Sometimes it's helpful to bend the right arm, placing the right hand on the right shoulder to help with that. Taking one more breath in and out. Coming back to center, shifting your hips so both of them are planted nicely on the mat. Bend the left foot as it plants on the mat, right leg extends long. Then use the strength of the left foot pressing into the mat to slowly lower and lengthen the right foot. As the right foot touches down, Extending the left. Finding mountain on your back. Take a breath in. Breath out. Bringing the left knee into your chest. And again, being playful. Doing some ankle circles, some hip circles. Whatever you need. Stillness, perfectly fine. Begin to inhale. Exhale. You transition, half pigeon, figure four. Left ankle, right thigh. Flexing your feet. Again, using that powerful breath, the powerful thought process of absorbing every positive thought. And on the exhale, letting go of all of the negative thoughts. Go ahead and release, extending the right leg, shifting your hips, finding that spinal twist on the other side. Just being gentle with yourself, meeting yourself with where you're at today. I did something, I tweaked my back at some point earlier, I think it was yesterday. But this feels so good. Let's take one more deep breath in. Deep breath out, slowly releasing all of the air. Coming back, both hips on the mat. Plant the right foot, extend the left. And again, just feeling the right foot pressing into the mat. As you extend, lengthen, lower the left leg. Seeing how slow you can extend and lengthen. As it touches down, right foot meets the left. Take a breath in, breath out. Bring both knees into your chest, giving yourself a hug. Stay here, maybe even finding your happy baby if that's available to you. So finding the outsides of your feet. Bending your knees. Love me a happy baby in vinyasa. Giving you that option today if it's in your practice. And bringing your feet together, giving yourself one more hug. We set up for a little core work or supine 90. So bring your knees to 90. Arms at your side or place them on top of your thighs. Feet are flexed. On an in breath, begin to engage the belly. On an out breath, purse your lips, breathing all the air out through a straw through your lips. Inhale, engage, press the palms. Exhale, really fire up the belly. Inhale, relaxing your shoulders, pressing your palms into your thighs if they're there. Exhale, press. One more, in breath, out breath. Legs extend long towards the sky. and finding our half boat. So keeping your head, neck, shoulders on the mat or lifting them bright. Arms can stay on the mat or lifted. Start to engage the belly as you slowly lower your feet, your legs. Just being mindful that you can still stay relaxed through the upper body as you lower the legs just a couple of inches. We're holding here. Let's hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs extend to the sky, knees at 90, releasing all things to the mat. Finding your breath. And do a long stretch, so arms overhead. And your choice, so rolling onto your belly if this transition is a little bit too aggressive this early in the morning, or we'll do what's called the yogi curl up. So arms overhead, inhale. Exhale, tuck the chin, arms by your side, round up. Inhale, long spine, arms overhead. And then on your exhale, hinge from the hips, finding your flat back as you reach for your toes. Working our way to our bellies, into our cobra pose. So fingertips pressing together about mid-rib, tops of the feet pressing into the mat. Kiss your mat here. In breath brings you up, lifting through the chest. Elbows a little tighter to your sides. On your exhale, slowly release. One bit at a time. Toes touch, heels go wide, head turns to the right, letting that pose go. Head back to center. One of the more challenging poses, but oh so beneficial, are half locust. So wiggle walk your hands under your hips, under your body, so palms pressing into the mat, lifting one hip at a time to get those fingertips, especially those pinky fingers, if you can, touching. It's a big feat in and of itself. Fingers spreading wide. Begin to lift your chin to the top of the mat. We'll warm it up here, so relax the left and start to lift the right foot, the right thigh, just about a few inches. So no more than 6 inches, but I would say in the 3, I know it's hard to gauge, but the point is it's not that high. And release, relax the right, extend the left, lift the left. Start to work the forearm, the palm, engage it here. And release. Bringing your head back to neutral, so kiss your mat. And maybe lifting your hips and bringing your forearms a little closer together as we set up for the full expression here. Pressing your feet as one. On your next inhale, begin to lift them. Maybe using some momentum to get over that first hurdle. Pressing your palms, your forearms. And then finding your breath. No holding our breath through this pose, even though we want to. Take one more inhale. See if you can press a little more. Exhale. Slowly lower. Using the strength of your forearms to lower. Bringing your arms out from underneath of you. Head to the left. Letting the pose go. Feeling that heartbeat pressing into the mat, absorbing that. Head comes back to center, full locust. So airplane arms, feet come together. Really button up those toes, engage through the thighs. On your in breath, lifting your upper body, lifting your arms. And on your out breath, lifting your toes, balancing as much as you can on those hips. So maybe bringing your thighs a little higher, maybe your chest a little longer. Engage through that lower core, no pressure on the lower spine. Relax the shoulders, breath in. And on the breath out, releasing as slow as you can, slower than you've ever released to the mat. Head to the right. And again, letting it go. Let it go more than the last Upasana. Head comes back to center. Our bow pulling pose. Grabbing for the outsides of the feet. That's not available. Flexing your feet to at 90. Working your knees a little bit closer together. On the in breath, lifting your chest. On the out breath, begin to kick your feet into your hands. Finding that lift. Reaching, relaxing through the shoulders. Lifting. And again, finding those little sips of breath while we're holding this pose. Take one more breath in. And on the exhale, lowering slow to the mat. Head to the right, head to the left, let's even ourselves out. And we'll slowly work our way to our heroes. The knees come closer to the top of the mat, so if you do go back, you have some space on your mat. The idea is to sit on something other than your heels. So you want your heels just to the outsides of your hips, maybe sitting on a block. Maybe your bum is touching the mat. Either way, finding something for your bum to rest on. You can stay upright, sending your breath through this long stretch through the thighs. Or if it's available, you can work your way back to your forearms. Maybe all the way back to your shoulders. Really good time to tap back into your breath, tap back into your intention. This is one of the longer holds. And this is exactly where most of our minds start to wander. So anytime it starts to wander, just bring it back to your intention. Let's round out this pose by taking a breath in and a breath out. We work our way back up to center. And setting up that plank, that high plank. Wrist under the shoulder, spreading your fingers wide. Suction cup fingers. You feel all 10 fingers pressing into the mat. Belly engaged as we inhale. Exhale, downward dog. And again, bending and straighten or finding stillness. Together, we'll find stillness in the center. Inhale brings you to plank. Bracing breath on the exhale. Release. Setting up for our half tortoise. So sitting back on our heels this time. Upright spine. Arms overhead. Prayer hands, thumbs crossed. Take an in breath. On an on an exhale, extending long, biceps by your ears, as slow as you can, working that flat back. And as you descend, as your fingers touch the mat, see if you can wiggle walk those pinky edges a little further away. And getting your ears right in between your biceps, extending long, lifting the wrist just another 1/4 inch here, engaging through those long arms. On our next breath in, slowly rise, keeping your hips down as best you can, extending long. And the exhale, watching your fingertips lower, hands at prayer. Coming into our plank. Taking 2 breaths here. Feeling those inhale and exhales. And on the second breath, transitioning to your downward dog. Inhale brings you back to center. Exhale, hold here. Lower into our camel. So knees right under your hips, fingertips right on your sacrum, either fingertips down or pointing up. And your elbows a little closer together. Working our camel pose, so working our hips over our knees as best you can. Inhale, reaching tall. On the exhale, lifting the chest, extending long. Again, engaging the thighs. Imagine your thighs are up against a wall and you're pressing those thighs, those hips into the wall. On your next in-breath brings you back to center. Exhale here. We'll find our plank, holding for a breath. And on the exhale, shifting those hips, downward dog. Inhale, back to center, plank. Hold for the exhale. We'll move into our rabbit. So again, sitting on our heels, working around the spine, arms at your side. In breath long. And on the out breath, tucking the chin, rounding the spine, seeing how slowly you can round down, curl up into a little ball, forehead to your knees, or to the mat. You can stay here, or you can work your hips high, maybe grabbing your ankles for a little leverage. Just little to no pressure of your forehead, your head on the mat. So use those hands to help get those hips a little higher without putting too much pressure on the head. Take another breath in and out. Slowly working your way back to center as you uncurl your body. Chin is the last thing to release. And separating your feet wide, coming onto your bum. Feet about hip width distance, or mat width distance. Bring the left foot into the right thigh. Arms overhead. A slight twist over the right foot. As you round down, catching the right foot. Working your forehead to knee. So you can bend the right knee as much as you need. Next inhale, reaching past your foot, arms overhead. Exhale, arms at your side. Switching sides, left foot extends, right foot, left thigh, arms overhead. Slight twist to the left as you round down to catch your left foot. So we're getting towards the end of the class in another spot where most minds start to wander. Again, seeing if you can bring yourself back to your breath, back to that intention. Leveling off the shoulders, relaxing the shoulders, reaching past your foot as we work our way back to center again. Slowly releasing the arms, extending both legs long, coming up on your sit bones, flexing your feet, arms overhead. And on your out breath, begin to hinge forward, reaching for your feet. Your thumbs can come on top of your foot as the other 8 fingers wrap around the outside of the foot, lifting your chest. Next inhale, arms overhead. On the exhale, T-arms, finding that twist to the right. Very subtle twist. First, thinking about lifting and coming up on those sit bones, keeping a long spine, twisting a little more. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, T-arms and twisting to the left. So again, if you need to, bend your knees to help get you a little higher on those sit bones. Belly's engaged. Twisting a little more. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, your choice, rounded spine or straight spine as you reach for your toes. Reaching past your feet, arms overhead. And slower than any mountain at this point, reaching your arms wide, fingers bright, arms at your side. We'll set up for a Savasana here, just a couple of minutes. Super important. If you ever have to leave early, you can find time just to pause and find the Savasana, the most important pose of the practice, settling in with what you just completed, what you just accomplished. slowly begin to wiggle your toes. Find movement in your fingers and your wrists. And bring both feet to the mat. We turn to the right side, pausing to reflect, bringing back our intention. Again, keeping this intention throughout your day or creating a new one. Keeping your eyes closed, coming up to a seated position or a comfortable position. Hands to heart center. We'll seal our practice with an in breath and an out breath. Bring your palms to forehead center and back down to heart center as we bow down and say, Namaste. Thank you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that.